like Kansas can best be done without, but with our faces toward tomorrow and our backs strong from the past, we will all stand together and be the ones that last. We will stand. Yes, we will stand with our faces toward tomorrow and our backs strong from the past. We will stand and we will be the ones that last. We've been tried and we've been tested, and we've won the rugged race. And there's none, or one among us, that cannot hold their place. We are like a fire burning. It's a flame that burns within. There's a strength that's deep inside us, and we pass it on again, and we will stand. Yes, we will stand with our faces toward tomorrow and our backs strong from the past. We will stand and we will be the ones that last. It's a strength from those before us, and we hold it in our hands. With the dreams inside our hearts, we will pass it on again. We are like a river flowing, and it flows from year to year, and it flows so those behind us may stand without fear. We will stand. Yes, we will stand with our faces toward tomorrow and our backs strong from the past. We will stand and we will be the ones that last. We are like a river flowing with our backs strong from the past. We will stand and we will be the ones that last.
I've been away, I'm running out. All this moment to ride. I've been dreaming in the night. All this dream to materialize. I've been dreaming in my mind. All this dream to materialize.
Moved to New Hope, and she said, well, you know the black sheep in the family. She said, this is where all the black sheep in the families come to live. I thought that.
Every other day was a new adventure. Some enchanted weight still pressed on my shoulder. Yeah, reaching for the scene. Always leaving me with some things unanswered. Reaching for the seam to try to tear free. Yeah, 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 try to tear free.
I took a strange route, I guess. I did many things. My father used to say I was a jack of all trades and the master of none.
Well, I'm officially Michael Gardner, but known as Miss Pumpkin around New Hope. Born and raised, grew up around here. My family's been here forever.
I'm the son of a bricklayer from the main line, so it was a little different. We had a house that looked like we had $1 million, but there was no, I don't know, very few zeros at the end of our bank account.
There is where you go when you need to get a car. David Ray, you know, they have a great bar. If music is the thing you need, there's every sound. And there's Melissa selling ice cream, Sal's got the shirts. Just always walking around, you can pick out all the flirts. It's easy to see, it's the best around. So tell me, where can you go just to let your hair down? Just to be who you are, it's in our town. So, meet me down at Bridge and Main. We'll walk our town together and I'll hold your hand and take a look around. We are family. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. Let's get down to Martine's, have ourselves a drink. I'll sit down by the river, take a little time to think. Havana's where you wanna watch people passing by. Take a visit to the old mill, we can see a play. There's artists in the alley, come hear what they have to say. 'Cause everybody is here, looking far and wide. So tell me, where can you go just to let your hair down? Just to be who you are, it's in our town. So, meet me down at Bridge and Main. We'll walk our town together and I'll hold your hand and take a look around. We are family. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. And tell me, where can you go just to let your hair down? To be who you are, it's in our town. So, meet me down at Bridge and Main. We'll walk our town together and I'll hold your hand and take a look around. We are family. Yeah, smile because of what we found. Freedom's what we're feeling when we're in our town. And it's why we're here, we are family. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. And that's how it's supposed to be. And that's how it's supposed to be.
ways very much homogenous, and in other ways they were very, very different from one another. And they were nurturing of the young people over here. They were nurturing one another. It's not dependent on the number of people or necessarily what's said, but on sort of the quality of people wanting to work together to hear God. And sometimes it's clear and sometimes it's not. But it's the working together that makes the meaning for worship an enriching experience.
Never try to be like the TV people. Always wanted to be like my favorite teacher. Yeah, try to find me. Always looking to spread my own new wings and fall into the blue. Try to find me. Yeah, try to find me.
Why do you think your friend thought this would be a good place for you?
She's lived here all her life. She liked the small town atmosphere. I lived in small towns all my life, and I think she just knew it would be a good fit. Another friend who was a waitress at a restaurant here would always be asked questions about why other people
I go to a fundraiser for the project, and there's this person in a crushed velvet dress with coupon hairdo, and say, hey, you know, Doug, this is Pumpkin, and he's like, hey, how's it going? And I was like, wow, I really don't know what to say to this person. Do I say, it's a beautiful dress? Well, thank you very much, he said, you know. But I thought, what, am I going to offend him when I say something? As Robin Heidelberg, the conflict resolution specialist said, expert said, you know, that the first rule of conflict resolution is stop and think.
I'm a believer in that if you present a positive situation to people, they might change their attitudes. Too much we depict people as evil and hating and unloving and uncaring, and I just don't think people are like that. I mean, in my heart, I believe people are basically good.
But isn't the other side so much more entertaining?
Well, yeah, that may be true, and that's what we have struggled as artists on this film and this production of this film. Will people watch a film about something good? And I'm hoping people will be fascinated with the goodness and the kindness of people and say, this is true, this is the way we all can be, this is not just a fairy tale place. Can I embrace a conservative attitude? I can definitely embrace a conservative attitude. What I can't embrace is someone who hates someone on the basis of a label.
Do you think you can bring them around?
Well, I think I can bring them around in some ways. The question is, do I want to spend my time trying to bring them around? Yes, that's why we're doing this film.
In my school, there's a bunch of different groups of people. Like there's the popular people, there's the secondary popular people, there's loners, there's weirdos, there's smart people. And you can kind of all see those groups come together because of how those people think of other people, just because what they wear, how they talk, or what they look like.
I guess the first time was that pool job you did.
The pool shows.
Yeah.
Right.
Over at the Raven.
We used to do an annual extravaganza poolside.
I had never seen him in complete costume, I guess. And I had a hard time believing it was the same guy I was talking to in my office. But I got over that pretty quick.
Town became its name for all to see. Though faces change, it still remains a place for me. It calls to all you dreamers to come outside. Togetherness In this crazy world I found one truth keeps me coming back to you. My embrace of you.
There's something called the minority effect. If somebody feels different or feels like an outcast, ETS actually did this research in Princeton, and their score will drop like a quartile. I mean, significantly drop if they're feeling like an outsider. I think the whole point of being in New Hope was that nobody was an outsider. So there was a kind of automatic respect there.
We're completely integrated in society here. It's not like there's a ghetto. You know, in other cities you go and you look for the rainbow flags because, you know, that's the gay area. Gay people sometimes come here, and all my years at the Raven, they said, well, where should we go to shop? You know, because gay people will support gay businesses. And they'll say, we don't see that many rainbow stickers here. How come there's not more stickers in the windows? It's like, we don't need them. I mean, everybody's here.
Well, I don't think anybody wants it.
No, we don't flaunt it, but we don't, nobody
It's
wants.
just, you know, it's part of life and that's the way it is. So, you know, you don't have to raise a flag to say, hey,
Of course, I'm wearing this outfit, so I'm like, you can be a little bit today.
Well, the argument about this town a lot is that in order to be, people who come to New Hope have to be different, and they have to be different for difference's sake, which is not ever true, because they're conforming to being nonconformists. And the really interesting thing about this town is that that's never been the case. I think that the artists and the woodworkers and the writers and all the people who are thought of as artists in this town have always really respected people who knew how to function in the real world, you know, people who are lawyers and particularly people who knew how to fix cars, you know. People who know how to cook. And I don't think there's ever been, at least when I was growing up, there was never a feeling of you know, that everybody had to be an artist, and there was great respect for all of that. So there wasn't even a sense of conforming to being a nonconformist at all, because that sense would kind of implode, you know.
It's a kind of town where if you want to fit in, you better be yourself and allow other people to be themselves. And that's like such a freeing and liberating thing that it's, you know, there's no need to be resistant to it. Literally, I could be any way I wanted to be, which is just the way I am, and not really be judged. And so it's kind of easy to not, like, well, if this guy's not going to give me crap for the way I look, or the way I talk, or what I think, or what I feel, or the kind of art I do, then why would I feel, you know, why would I have a knee-jerk reaction to what he does?
When I first moved here, I got to know some of the residents who have been here longer, and they were very accepting. And my feeling was I want to be part of this community. I don't want to just live here and leave here and go to work in the morning, come back again, and don't see anybody in town. I'm going to be part of the town. So I got involved with things early on, and by doing that, I got to know a lot of folks in town. I think if they see you're part of them and you're part of the community, wow, they just latch on to you right away.
Some of my friends, they think I'm crazy.
Well, you know, the black sheep in the family. She said this is where all the black sheep in the families come to live. I thought, that's me.
I've been waiting all my life for this moment to arrive.
What do you feel, Pumpkin, when you meet somebody who's different from you?
I love meeting different people. I mean, if everybody was the same, the world would be awfully boring.
I like hanging out with older people. I mean, like when I
What's
started,
the matter with you?
I don't know, I'm a weirdo.
What I see here is there's a lot of communication amongst all groups, walks of life, people who come here. They welcome you here no matter what your diversity. And I think because of that, people accept it. You know, you get to know these individuals as real people, and they become your friends, and before you know it, nobody really pays attention to it anymore.
I think New Hope is really shines is their caring about other people. And one of the first events we ever went to was a fundraiser that they had for a gentleman who was an artist and a chef, and he was having some trouble with medical bills. So everybody gathered at the Holiday Inn and had a fundraiser for them to raise money.
I think the borough, in connection with the synagogue and the Catholic Church, have just established a concept called HOPE, where if you make your needs known to Borough Hall, I know we have a tenant who is by himself and was sick. I called the borough and told him that I thought he was a person who was needy in certain respects. And the next thing I knew, I saw women come with trays of food. It's a very close-knit community, but you don't hear about it. It doesn't get to be headlines. That's the good part. It comes from the heart and it doesn't get reported.
Why is that?
Because it's genuine. It's not, while it has to be to some degree institutional, it is really personal.
Most of my friends, they think I'm fine. Most of my friends just love one another, and all they gotta do is give it the time. I never had enough to call mine extra. I've never.
A very close-knit community, but you don't hear about it. It doesn't get to be headlines.
I think if they see you're part of them and you're part of the community, wow, they just latch on to you right away.
You live your life and live it well and don't hurt anybody else, and it really doesn't matter much what you are.
That's the thing. I mean, we're 1 mile square and we get along. I mean, we fight over stupid things like zoning things, not about differences. That's the thing. I mean, we're 1 mile square and we get along. I mean, we fight over stupid things like zoning things, not about differences.
I thought you were asking about how I got here. I've been thinking about what to say, how I got here. So can I tell you how I got here? Tell you how I got here. How much time do you have? My father was a blue-collar worker. I've come up through the ranks. I've learned to be patient. My background has really been very diverse. When I got out of high school in 1968, I worked for Columbia Records. I raced motorcycles.
He spots people that come through that door and he just instantly identifies with them. Those that should be our best friends in our lives.
Yeah, he's fun about that, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. You know, they could be sitting at a table and he will take them from the table and make them sit at the bar and introduce them to all the friends.
If you had to describe New Hope to somebody who didn't know anything about it, what would you say?
I would say, you know, you come to town and you have to strike up a conversation with somebody.
You can walk down the street here at any time and see a young girl or a guy with green and purple hair. Or you can walk down and see Darrell and his partner walking down the street. And you know, Darrell and Wayne are two different people. Or you can see me and my husband walking down the street, or way different people. And I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I think you actually get to see a great melting pot.
Oh boy, yeah. And it's up to you as a person if you want to learn about that melting pot. If you don't want to and you want to be ignorant to what's happening and all the differences, then that's what you choose. But if you really are open, and I think that's probably why we get along so well. I don't think any of us are quiet about what we do or how we do things, and we respect that about all of our friends. So it depends on what you want to make your life of when you're here.
To somebody who didn't know anything about it, what would you say?
I would say, you know, you come to town and you have to strike up a conversation with somebody.
I think it's been about 3. Yeah, I think it's been about 3 years that we've known each other. 3 great years, actually. And it's really nice to have this guy as a friend.
Michelle, and a couple of other people, of course, have really kept me young. So I'm grateful to them. And I have breakfast every morning at a place called Duck Soup here in town. And I sit there with people approximating my age, and I enjoy that. And I sure as hell enjoy being with young people too, because again, it doesn't matter if you like them. It doesn't matter how old they are. You know, what's their thinking like? What are they like? So I'm very pleased that I know younger people than myself, particularly when they're hot.
Socially, it was just like it was a mind blower for me, because it was really, it's like there were guys who looked like they stepped out of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. This was 1992 or 93, I'm talking about, and they were all like commingled, and they weren't like, there was a hippie talking to a punk rock kid, you know, it was just like, what the,
Exactly.
you know, yeah.
I like hanging out with older people. I mean, like when I started,
What's the matter with you?
I don't know, I'm a weirdo.
I'm one of those people that doesn't really have a group. I don't really care about that anyway. I mean, why would you want to have just a little group of people that's your friends and not know like some really awesome person just because of what they look like?
Jack Rosen used to hang out here, and you'd walk in and, you know, you'd always get a story or, you know, I mean, he made you feel like you were worth something. They all do. They talk to you and they help you, and
But you are worth something.
oh,
You're worth as much as anybody else.
I know, but it's nice that you guys actually like spend the time with us, you know. And I don't consider John and Peter being a younger crowd. I consider it being my crowd, but I guess compared to John, I am younger.
In one of the classes, there was an elderly woman. She was in her mid-80s, wonderful artist, and a young 17-year-old girl who became best friends, who shared that one thing that was about art. And it was like a binding experience. Or the CEO of a major financial group who became best friends with a guy who was a truck driver. They were both in the same class. And in a lot of ways, art, interestingly enough, is almost like sports. It brings people from diverse backgrounds together, and they get to know each other along some common denominator.
I don't know anybody who doesn't like Michelle. I don't want to embarrass you or anything, but she's just a nice girl. She looks like she's the wildest thing that ever walked the ground. In the meantime, she's a Republican. I'd say the dirty word, didn't I?
Oh my God, don't go there.
Okay. But actually, she's very hard-working, everyday person like the rest of us are.
Darrell, how was your meeting?
We met actually at a restaurant in Doylestown, and just kind of hit it off right away. And I actually good friends with her husband as well. And we created a nice little circle of friends. Buckingham, New Hope, Doylestown.
Yeah.
Darrell, you're gay,
Yes.
African American.
You are?
No. Yes.
You are?
Yes.
You know what popped out at me? Not that he was black. What popped out at me is that his smile was so pleasant, and that's what drew me to him. Nothing else. I didn't worry about anything else, because that's what he throws out at you, his kindness and his sweetness. And when you're looking for somebody or somebody to be a friend with, basically that's what you look for. You don't look for what color they are, if they're gay or if they're straight. Not, I mean, it's like, I don't look good.
Darrell, how was your meeting?
We met actually at a restaurant in Doylestown, and just kind of hit it off right away. And I actually good friends with her husband as well. And we created a nice little circle of friends. Buckingham, New Hope, Doylestown.
Yeah.
Darrell, you're gay,
Yes.
African American.
You are?
No. Yes.
You are?
Yes.
You know what popped out at me? Not that he was black. What popped out at me is that his smile was so pleasant, and that's what drew me to him. Nothing else. I didn't worry about anything else, because that's what he throws out at you, his kindness and his sweetness. And when you're looking for somebody or somebody to be a friend with, basically that's what you look for. You don't look for what color they are, if they're gay or if they're straight. Not, I mean, it's like, I don't look good.
My partner introduced us basically. He actually owns a restaurant, Poco's in Doylestown. And
Never had enough that I could give it away. I never knew that love could last past tomorrow, but always thought the time for life was living today. No more tears. No
baby. Mwah.
It's the kind of town where if you want to fit in, you better be yourself and allow other people to be themselves. It's weird being like a son of a blue-collar guy, like a conservative Marine Corps, construction guy. In an area where there are kids who got 9/11s on their 16th birthdays, and I remember going home, going to this girl's house after school when I was like 14, and like it was a real mansion. It wasn't like a mini mansion. It was like a real, yeah, we have 17 bathrooms and 20 bedrooms, and they'd kind of be like, that's so much different than my house.
I went on to manage a nightclub in Atlantic City. I was started out as a disc jockey spinning records, and then managed the nightclub, opened a disco in Philadelphia.
I grew up in the projects of Allentown, so it's a totally different environment, for me. And socially, like most of the people I grew up with were poor. Now I'm living in a really wealthy area.
I actually had gotten 2 years of college under my belt in that time frame, and I had a real good friend who told me I should go back to school because I got fired from selling cars.
I had that guidance counselor tell me I was never going to be a physician. Well, you can't base that on my grades. My grades were great. What were you basing that on? Because I was Hispanic? Because my name's Ronaldo Velasco? Because you're going to tell me that I'm not going to be a physician? Fine, that's your decision, but I always take life as a positivity. I've always had positive energy. I got that from my mother. She was a very driven person. I had a religious teacher in college because I messed up on one exam and said the same thing. But I got accepted to medical school. I've always been driven to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish.
So I went back to school to meet all the requirements to apply to dental school, and I'm here today. Very nice.
Well, the truth is, it really doesn't matter, does it? If you do your job and you live your life and live it well and don't hurt anybody else, it really doesn't matter much what you are, as long as you're okay.
Living up in a little condo development in New Hope, where I had a gay couple as my neighbor on one side, and I had a single woman above me, and on like Saturday nights, everyone would be out together barbecuing, and I hadn't had that community just by it was like a sense of community that I'd never experienced before. I didn't realize it was unique to here till I moved from here to another kind of small, close-knit community where everything's super conservative, and I walk into my neighborhood. I think I'm the only guy in my subdivision with tattoos, and I still get looks. I've been there 4 years. Here, I didn't get looks after the first day. I don't think I got looks the first day. It's a loose and informal place that has there's unwritten courtesies that go on here that aren't like anywhere else I've ever been.
Well, when I worked for Love Saves the Day, and the church, this building, it was an operating church, and we found some great nudes at the flea market, these great paintings of these naked women, and we stuck them in the window at the corner. And the parishioners, they had to walk by every day and pass these nudes, and it caused the biggest uproar. But you know what? They made amends. They put their differences aside. The pastor spoke with the owner, and they made a deal, and it worked for everybody.
The electrical tape over the nipples.
I had to put covers over them for their service, and after their service, I could unveil them, and that's what I did. And we compromised. We wanted to make everybody happy.
I think even people who have moved here without really a full knowledge of what it's like to be in this community, a lot of them start out wanting it the way if I came from the main line, I think I wanted to be like it was there. think a lot of people are at first disappointed and then embrace the fact that life here is different. And there's an odd sense of community here that you don't find anywhere else.
I mean, I have people come in the store every day that fall in love, and they're leaving New York City, and they're moving to New Hope, and they're going to be the new piece of the puzzle. And they'll create something new and bring something new to the table.
And this is the way it should be. The rest of the world needs to watch New Hope.
I don't know how you go about making us a role model, and we've been in this situation, in this position, for a long, long time. People that have been coming to New Hope, they've been accepted, and because of that, they keep coming back.
That's part of the key to being here in New Hope, that everybody's kind of living like live.
Do you think people in those other communities could be like that?
I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't raised in a different community. You know? You have a take on that?
Well, let's just hope.
When I close out my shows, my friend Monica Ray, who's my drag mother, who's no longer with us, God bless her, always ended her shows, and I've taken it and kept it alive. It's the first thing we learn to do in New Hope is learn to laugh at ourselves, and then we can laugh at everybody else. And I think that's a great way to live. You know, don't take life too seriously. It's serious enough. Laugh at yourself, and then you can laugh at anything. It's a good way to end a show.
I was born in 1931, and I got married in 1953. And then, like I said, I went to Feasterville and raised 6 sons.
When did you first kind of realize that some of your sons were gay?
They all told me. And 3 are gay, 2 are bisexual, 1 heterosexual, with the 6 of them. So, my husband accepted it too, said whenever they're happy, you know.
Mom actually read that you're happy.
Yeah.
When was that?
I forget. I said, did I do something wrong or something like that? I forgot what I said. Like a guilt trip, you know.
You're happy.
Did I do this? You know. But, and then she wrote me back, and then she sort of explained it. She said something about, no, it's just something that is.
You know, I went to service and thought that, you know, I was still in denial of who I was. I thought, well, maybe I'll get to like women. So I had a girl, but I think you fixed me up with her from work.
Well,
Mom fixed me up with a girl.
She worked with me, and when he'd come in to pick me up and all, and she saw him, the next day she goes, oh my God, your son is so handsome. She says, can you tell him to ask me to my prom? I said, what? She says, yeah, she said, that way I can get to know him and all. So I said, Carol wants you to, she wants you to go to her prom with her. And, you know, will you ask her? He goes, well, huh? I said, yeah. He said, oh no, Mom, what do you think I should do? I said, what the heck? Try it, you know, go.
You know, I don't think I've ever told you this, but the day I asked her out, I had received a response in the mail from the American Academy of Psychologists in Rockville, Maryland. Because I had written to them saying, I think I'm a homosexual. You know, where can I go to get help? They sent me a list
or research
of local areas, and the nearest one was where I worked at Eastern State School and Hospital.
Oh.
I'm not going there. I work there.
Yeah.
You know? So then I thought, well, let me give it a shot.
So you for a while.
Then I asked her out.
Yeah. They went to the prom, got pictures.
Ended up marrying her. We only lasted 2 years. So when she left, my last few months in the service, a friend of mine who I met in basic training had brought me out to Austin, Texas, where I pretty much came down to Austin, Texas. You know, I all along tried to, you know, more or less educate her, let her know, and she was accepted. She never joined P-Flag, and that's one thing I thought maybe that would help her, but she was pretty much accepting of the community.
Yeah, right away.
She even rode in the Gay Pride Parade.
Yeah, I rode in the police car with him, waving the gay flag. Waving at everybody. They call me the mother of Newman.
She's like a celebrity in town. Mama DeLuca, they call her. I think it's at the point now in my career where I think I'm most content with the position and the community. I just love the community here and the town of New Hope.
Hope had laid the brick to stem the water's tide. This town was built by dreamers from a day gone by, where artists painted life and poets took the stage. Together here our story starts a brand new page. Beautiful friend, I hear you calling me again. In this crazy world I found one truth keeps me coming back to my embrace of you.
What do you feel, Pumpkin, when you meet somebody who's different from you? What's your first?
I love meeting different people. I mean, if everybody was the same, the world would be awfully boring.